and welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've watched the last couple of videos that I've made here. I haven't really had a chance to make any more because I haven't had time to edit all the footage that I've been getting, so be prepared for an influx of videos from me in the next couple of weeks because I actually have the time to edit, because this is my full-time job now as a travel vlogger. So watch out for that. It's been a week since we've been here in the Philippines now. But not, I mean, I guess as tourists, but at the same time as people who are going to be living here for the next couple of years, getting established and things like that. So this is going to be kind of like my home base while I travel other areas of Asia and Southeast Asia and getting to explore things that I've never been able to see before living back in the United States. During this time of trying to at least get my footing here, at least a little bit, I've had some first impressions of the Philippines. Now, I've only been in Manila, so I can't really speak to the whole of the Philippines because, I mean, it's like any country that you go to, different regions are going to have different customs, they're going to have different types of specialty foods. Like, for example, you have Boston clam chowder is their big thing, and then you have Texas, our barbecue is our big thing. So just like the United States, this country is also going to have those differences as well. So I'm only speaking from this first impression point of view that I have of Manila, Metro Manila. Right now we are staying in Quezon City, which is a part of the Metro Manila area. Think of DFW, like if you're from Texas, then you'll know like the DFW area encompasses so much. So not only do you have Dallas, but you have also Fort Worth. Then you have like North Texas, which I would consider a part of the Metroplex, the Dallas Metroplex. So you have like Denton County and Louisville, Carrollton, all of those. The way it was described to me from someone on the plane is that Metro Manila is similar. They're different provinces, they're different little villages and different cities within the Metro Manila area. So this is basically the perspective that I'm going to be giving just based on what I've seen around Quezon City, because I haven't even been far enough over in, I think, to the west to be in Metro Manila proper. That being said, I had sort of like a very chill existential crisis my first actual day of being here, which sounds weird, but it was kind of like I wasn't freaking out about being in an entirely different place. I mean, I'm in a completely different country on the other side of the world with a completely different set of people, a different history, different currency, different language, all that stuff. But at the same time, it's all kind of the same. You have people here. I mean, there's people everywhere. So there's people here in this country. They have their own government, just like we have our own government in the United States, our own currency, their own language, their own types of food. So buildings, homes, families, friends, all of that's the same. And that's something that we can all relate to, which is why I'm not really having a culture shock moment. Everyone's just doing their own thing on this spinning ball of rock and sea. I was just like, oh, I'm just in a different place. And so that's kind of helped my transition and being able to avoid that sort of culture shock. So if you're coming here from the United States and you're thinking, oh, it's going to be totally different, in reality, it's not really. Again, everywhere has people, currency, their language, government, all of that. It's all really kind of the same, but just taking different. That's been something that I've been contending with while I'm kind of making my first impressions and really trying to get a grasp of the vibe here. So I think with everything, the easiest thing to get familiar with is food. I mean, anywhere you go, you have to eat. That's not an option. And we all have similarities to what kind of foods we eat. Most of us eat meat, some form of protein, some form of vegetable, some form of grain. We all have those kinds of staples. And so getting to know each culture and their food types, I think, is the easiest thing, because there's always going to be something on a menu that we are going to enjoy. So far, I have not been disappointed with the food here. Now, it's a lot of chicken and rice. So if you like chicken and rice or arroz con pollo, like, you're going to enjoy it here, because I think in every single restaurant that we've been in, there's some form of chicken and rice. Like in the States, if you go to a KFC, usually you get a side of macaroni and cheese or coleslaw or fries. But here at Jollibee, the fried chicken comes with rice or spaghetti. So I thought that was really interesting, that chicken and rice is just a staple here. And I love chicken and rice. I've grown up on chicken and rice. Protein and rice is huge in Jamaican culture as well. So, my grandmother is from Jamaica and would often feed us Jamaican dishes. So it's nothing that I'm unfamiliar with in that regard. So, of course, I have tried different things. I've tried Filipino food. Oh, it's so good. It's so flavorful. I really enjoyed it. There's a place that's down the street from our Airbnb that it's called Good AH exclamation point. And they have really, really good barbecue chicken. Oh my Lord. Coming from Texas, where we specialize in barbecue, this place would be a hit, because the chicken was so juicy, so tender, and the sauce was so good. I even had McDonald's. I tried McDonald's here, because it's kind of one of those things that, let's try McDonald's in other countries to see how it tastes. Tastes generally the same as it does in the States. Now, the Egg McMuffin that I had was really, really good, but everything generally tastes the same. But they have fried chicken and spaghetti on the menu. So that's something that we don't have in the States. They also have rice. So you can get your fried chicken, rice, spaghetti combo, if that is what your heart desires, at McDonald's. So I found that interesting. The coffee is very strong here. The different coffee shops that I've been to, I've only been to a few, but the coffee is pretty strong. So I do actually take milk and sugar in it. Normally I'll drink it black, but I couldn't here. And so that's been something that's different. Now there's this one coffee place that we've been going to almost on the daily. It's called But First Coffee, and it's so good. I'll link it down in the description where you can find it, because I think it's a chain. And oh my god, the coffee is very, very, very tasty, and the pastries are also very tasty. Bakeries are in abundance here, so if you're big on bread, pastries, that sort of thing, you are going to really enjoy that as well. We tried a pizza place here. It was delicious. I think the only miss that we've had so far was a place that sells fish and chips. But because my family is from England as well, it is very hard to impress me with fish and chips. And I think the only place where I've wanted to cry, the fish and chips were so good, was a place in Salem, Massachusetts. So it would be hard to top that, especially for a country where Anglo-Saxon food isn't really their specialty. Now, when I'm comparing food, I'm not going to really compare it to American food, because it's like comparing apples to oranges, as well as the variety of food in America is so vast versus what you would find here in the Philippines. Because America is such a fruit salad of a place, you can get any type of country's food: Italian, Greek, Mexican, Chinese, Japanese, all of that. You can get that anywhere. Here, it's going to be a little harder to find different countries' cuisine. And if you do, it's probably going to have their own Filipino spin on it, which is fine. That's great. I love kind of seeing other countries' takes on other countries' food. It's really interesting how different cultures can influence it. So I'm not going to be doing so much comparison, but I will say the food is fresher here. That's not really going to be much of a surprise because America, we like to process our foods and put so much sugar in it. The sodas have a lot less sugar in them here than they do in America, and they taste a lot different. Like, we had a Dr. Pepper here, and we're like, this is Dr. Pepper? And it tastes more like a cheer wine. Like, I don't know if any of you have had cheer wine before, but that's kind of what the Dr. Pepper here tastes like versus what it was in the States. So those things are different. There's just less sugar and stuff here in general, which I like because I'm not a huge sweets person. I've never been a huge sweets person. I was always that kid that would normally scrape off the icing off of my cake because it was just too much. Those are the only really big differences I can really make is the stuff that we get back home, like the sodas and whatnot, versus the sodas that they have here. So as for shopping, there are so many malls here. Like, I think in Dallas, when I was living in Dallas, there were some big malls. Like, you would have the Galleria, you have North Park Mall, you had the Grapevine Mills Mall. But those are kind of big center points, and tourists would actually come to go see those malls. Here, there are malls everywhere. There's a mall next to a mall, and there's if there's a mall on one block, only a few blocks down, there's another mall. And they're not just small little shopping centers. They're multi-level malls with all sorts of different kinds of shopping experiences. So we've gone to 3 different malls so far, and what I can tell you is that they're so organized. Like, in America, you kind of have the shop spread out, so you can have a Bath and Body Works next to a Gap, so that's a beauty shop, candles, lotions, whatever, next to a clothing store. Here in the Philippines, all the clothing stores would be in one area, beauty supply would be in another area, electronics are in another area, children's clothes and maternity things are in another area. So shoes are in their own area. So you have everything has its place. So if you're okay, I'm going shoe shopping, you only have to go into one little area, hit all of those little shoe stores, and then that's it, which I find just so refreshing as someone who likes organization. And I don't really like going to a bajillion different places when I'm shopping for a few particular things. I found that really refreshing, and I was like, okay, so I can make a shopping trip really, really short if I'm okay, I just need to find a shirt. All I need to do is go to the clothing section and hit up those little different areas, and I'll probably find something and just get out. There was one mall we went to, it had 6 floors. 6 floors, and not just a small, it wasn't small and up, it was huge. I was like, you need a couple of days to explore this mall thoroughly. If you wanted to hit every single shop in there to poke around and see what it is, you would have to do that in a couple of days because you'd be so worn out trying to do it in one day. It's 6 levels of that. I thought that was amazing. In terms of prices for things at these stores, if you're going to an American clothing store, it's gonna be about the same price in pesos as it is in USD. So we went to a Zara and we saw a shirt, and it was the equivalent of $50 USD. And so we're like, okay, yeah, that's the same price. So they don't really lower the prices for the Philippines or anything. You're gonna be paying the same price, because technically it would be like a luxury good. You're getting something from a foreign country. It's imported. Now Lush had no business being that expensive. Lush was more expensive here. Now, I don't know if it's because it's imported, but I don't know. But like a bath bomb at Lush would cost me 20 USD. And I'm just like, bath bombs at Lush are usually like $10, like half that price. I don't know why they're so expensive here, but I'm sure there are other bath places that I can go to that are locally owned, because I do want to support locally owned businesses first and foremost. I was just curious on how things were priced here at the same stores that we have in America. So about the infrastructure here, it is rough. I'm gonna keep it 100. It is a bit rough. There are a lot of dilapidated buildings. The sidewalks are very uneven, craggy. It's kind of like a hike to get around if you are walking it instead of taking public transportation. It might be jarring for people like if we're coming from America, where everything's very beautified, everything's very cleaned up to make it look nice. Here, there's a lot of stuff that's kind of gone by the wayside, but I mean, it is still a developing nation, and you have to be open-minded to that when you're coming over here to the Philippines, that it is still a developing nation. They're still growing in terms of economics and structure. And that's going to take time. That's going to take time. That's going to take movements. That's going to take money. And something that people here don't necessarily have an abundance of. But other than that, like, stuff here does make more sense in terms of infrastructure. Like I said before, the malls make sense, and I learned why there are so many malls. It is a large air-conditioned hub where you don't necessarily have to spend money to just kind of hang out there. So it's interesting to see what places are utilized for different things. If you have a mobility aid, like a wheelchair, or you have ambulatory issues, I would say don't use the sidewalks. It's not handicap friendly. But the good thing is public transportation is incredibly cheap. So over here they have something called a Grab, which is kind of like Uber or Lyft, right? And I think a half an hour ride from the airport over to here to Quezon City cost maybe $8 USD. It wasn't expensive at all. So if you do have mobility issues, getting a ride anywhere isn't gonna be hard. There's train systems. The trains actually have a specific car just for elderly people or people with mobility aids. So you don't even have to worry about like wrestling someone to find a proper seat to accommodate you. They have those accommodations ready for you, ready to go. So still, like, I might seem scary me saying that the sidewalks are just not fit for pedestrians with ambulatory issues. You don't have to be a pedestrian. You can easily get very, very cheap rides, and they are all over the place. I've not had to wait more than 5 minutes for a Grab to go from my Airbnb to the mall. It's been very great. It's been very easy, especially like it's rainy season right now. I don't want to walk around in that. I just catch a Grab. And if you like decide, okay, I want to eat something, but I don't necessarily want to leave because I'm tired, Grab also offers a food delivery service, and it's very easy. It's very affordable. It is just like Uber Eats, except without the astronomical service fees. So you won't have any problem. Talking about the weather, because that's something that's very important, because some of us like colder climates, some of us like warmer climates. The temperature here isn't bad. It's been getting up to like the high 80s For some of y'all, that's like, ooh, that's kind of hot. But as someone who's from Texas, where it gets to be like 115 degrees, like that's nothing. But what's the killer is the humidity. The humidity is like 80%, so it's very muggy. It actually reminded me a lot of New Orleans when we went. It was like the temperature wasn't bad. It was the humidity that was a killer. Like going into an air-conditioned area felt so nice because your sweat can't evaporate. So if you're any sort of warm, you're gonna stay warm because all of that moisture on your skin. So it's very muggy right now, but it is, it's rainy season right now. So it's been raining about once every day, which is very interesting. And once it rains and it's not due to rain for a bit, the weather is gorgeous. The other day, there was a nice breeze. It was a cool breeze and it was lovely. I was like, oh, I could do this. And then it got humid again. Be prepared for the humidity. Do whatever you need to for your hair, for your skin, any cooling things. I see a lot of people walking around with those little handheld electric fan things, those battery powered fans, because you just want to get the moisture off of your skin so that your skin can actually breathe. So yeah, be prepared for that. Dress coolly. It doesn't get any less than like 65 degrees here, so dress for warm weather. Now the language barrier. Is there a language barrier? I know a lot of expats who come to the Philippines say, oh, there's not really much of a language barrier, but all of them are usually kind of congregated in the same place. So usually depends on where you're going, where you're at, who you're talking to, whether or not they speak English or speak it well, or if there's any sort of communication issues. So for example, I went to a hair salon and I got my hair straightened because the humidity wasn't working with my curls. You can see in other videos that my hair is very curly. It's 3C hair, and if you know hair types and textures, you'll know what 3C hair is. But basically it's very kinky, coily, curly, you know, poofy, a lot of volume, a lot of hair. The humidity was making it just unmanageable, and I was like, I have to do something. And no, I'm fine with being natural, but I was like, I'm not gonna bother with it. That's one less thing I want to have to worry about. So I got a rebonding. So I went to a salon, and there was one person who could speak decent English, a decent amount of English. Everybody else couldn't really speak it. They could more understand it than they could speak it. So there's a little bit of that language barrier. Most service workers have been able to speak English really well. Most of the signs, I would say about 95% of the signs are in English. So English is very prevalent here. However, I do think that there is some merit to learning some Tagalog. Not only to make things a little bit easier for the people that you're interacting with and yourself, but just as some like respect. I don't speak any Tagalog. It's actually kind of hard to find where to learn it. I did find a website called Mango, and I'll link it down in the description if you're interested in learning Tagalog. But it's not like on Duolingo or anything, which I really think Duolingo should put Tagalog on the app because they have Klingon. That's not even like a real language. And if you're gonna put Klingon on your app, put Tagalog on your app, because I mean, I have a feeling the Philippines are gonna pop off. All right, like they have stuff going for them here, and it's only a matter of time before they come into their own and really become a destination place other than, oh, we want to go to this tropical resort. Like their city could become a pretty major hub. Like, so let's go ahead and perpetuate that. You know, let's give Southeast Asia some love. East Asia gets enough of it. Southeast Asia deserves just as much. So it's very well known that I'm one of the girlies. You know, I'm married to a non-binary. I myself identify as non-binary, or rather, yeah, non-binary, gender fluid or whatever. More on the femme side, but you know, I like my little masculine moment. Pride here, this year was huge. If you look at the Quezon City Pride March, it was like phenomenal. I thought it was absolutely amazing. So if you are queer, this is actually a pretty safe place. Right now they're kind of in the we just tolerate it phase. America went through that phase not too long ago. So it's not any place you're not going to suffer violence for holding your partner's hand or being at a pride event. So far, I haven't really heard or seen any real acts of violence or even aggression. Like, I haven't seen any aggression. Like, if you go to a major city in the United States, you're gonna see some form of aggression. Someone shouting profanities at someone else or just looking at them the wrong way. I haven't seen any of that. People just kind of mind their own business. Like, we went to a pride event the day after we landed, and it was so cool. Like, it was like people who draw like anime art or queer art were selling stickers. So it was like a pride sticker event. I bought so many stickers and I was like, whew, I should calm down. But I mean, things are cheaper here, so I indulged a bit. But it was so welcoming. I decided to participate in the lip sync battle because the guy on stage was trying to get people to get up on stage and like no one was biting. So I was like, you know what, I have no shame. So I went up there and kind of got the ball rolling. So other people signed up as well. The people there are so friendly, very welcoming. You know, they had me say, oh, where are you from? And stuff. And they're like, yeah, let's all welcome them. And they asked me my pronouns. Let's welcome them here. And we hope that they enjoy it here. So I really like the pride scene here, the LGBT scene. I feel like that's not really gonna be an issue here in the Philippines. So if you are, feel free to like, don't. This is a safe place to go. And I wouldn't steer you wrong because I don't want anyone getting hurt. And as for interacting with people in general, so far I haven't interacted with too many people outside of like service transactions or anything. But just from my observations, people just kind of, they're friendly, they're polite. People are very polite here. And like, but no one's like overtly super friendly. I come from the South. People get all up in your business after talking to you, you know, in the grocery store line. You'll start to strike up a whole conversation. And that's not something that bothers me because I grew up in the South, so I'm used to it. But here, you just kind of mind your own business. You don't really talk to people in the line or whatever. People are very, very polite, very friendly in terms of just like, they'll give you like advice. They'll give you advice, like if you're talking to them and you seem like you're a little bit like, oh, I'm not sure. They'll give you advice, but not overstepping their bounds where where it seems like they're telling you what to do. It's more like hey, be careful of this, or oh, I recommend this, but nothing like, oh, you need to do this or you should do this. So I've enjoyed the people here so far because again, people aren't really in your business and people are polite. Which I think is great. I think people are very considerate of each other. So those are my first impressions of the Philippines so far, or rather just Manila or Quezon City, just this area so far. I've really enjoyed myself. I am excited to see what's next in my journeys, going around these different islands and seeing different things and meeting different people. And I hope you guys enjoy coming along with me and enjoy what I have to say and what I'm going to be seeing. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, take care, go on your own adventures, or follow me for more.